Oh my God, what's going on? Is it blood sugar checking? These are two really strange teachers injecting magic into their students. Just by looking at their totally different looks, you can tell they're from two different camps. Yeah, after Harry Potter, another incredibly amazing magic school has popped up. The most special thing about this school is that it separates and teaches students with good and evil natures in a really strict way. Compared to Hogwarts, which is kind of hard to figure out, this school is way more practical. They not only teach you well, but they also help you get a job after you graduate. Students who graduate from the School of Good can become princes and princesses in fairy tales, and those who graduate from the School of Evil can become super bad villains. For thousands of years, this school has kept the balance between good and evil in the fairy world this way. But then, two girls show up, and they wake up a super demon that's been hiding on campus for thousands of years. Here comes the 2022 fantasy hit, The School for Good and Evil. In a small, out-of-the-way mountain village, there are two girls, Sophie and Agatha. Sophie is constantly bullied by her stepmom. She lives under someone else's roof and is crazy about becoming a princess. She even dreams that the prince will tremble when he looks at her. And Agatha, who lives near the cemetery, is different. Just from her appearance and behavior, she seems like a born witch. Sophie and Agatha are best friends who grew up together. They always thought nothing could break their friendship. But then one night, a blood-red sky comes over the whole village. It feels really bad. The two girls know something's wrong and start running, but it's too late. A strong, creepy wind blows, and a huge rooster suddenly dashes out of the woods. It grabs Sophie and Agatha and soars up into the sky. After a while, the two girls realize it's not a rooster, but a big, featherless bird. Wait, what's that? There's a magnificent building not far away. Oh my God, that's the School of Good. The giant stimph flies them over the School of Good. This is like a dream come true for Sophie. Is she really going to be a princess? But then, the bird drops Agatha. What's happening? Sophie's heart sinks because she knows she's going to be taken to a place she doesn't want to go. Sure enough, the bird takes Sophie to a dark, spooky castle. God. What is this place? Everyone here looks like a bad person. The guards that look like huskies really scare Sophie. This is the School of Evil, which is at odds with the School of Good. This can't be right.
God, I hate moving day.
The bird must have sent them to the wrong schools. A confused Sophie is arguing with Lady Leonora Lesso, a mean-spirited teacher. She's the dean of the School for Evil. Lesso says that from time to time, the school selects students with a dark side in their hearts and turns them into villains in fairy tales. And for thousands of years, the school has never made a mistake in student placement. Sophie, who always thought she'd be a princess, is really confused. Over at the School of Good, Agatha is being taken to a big fancy hall by a bunch of cute little angels.
Oh, I must be in hell.
The School of Good is filled with beautiful flowers and girls in gorgeous dresses. Agatha gets dropped off at the School of Good. Now, the main difference between this place and the School of Evil? The students here are supposed to be all about that good-hearted, light side stuff. That's just a load of bull. Agatha has been called a witch since she was a kid. She's definitely not the kind of girl who could be a princess. But you know what? When Agatha puts on the uniform of the School of Good, she actually looks really good. At least she looks much better than her roommates. As soon as Agatha enters the dorm room, she gets all sorts of crap from her classmates. And at the School of Evil, Sophie's roommates don't like her either because of her long blonde hair and fair complexion. So Sophie and Agatha decide to go see the schoolmaster and ask for an explanation as soon as they walk into the master's office. There's a magic book writing stories on its own. Since Sophie and Agatha came to this world, everything they do is written into their own fairy tale. Rian, the master, has a test to figure out if they're in the right schools. The question is, what is something that evil can never obtain, but good always possesses? The clever Sophie quickly comes up with over 100 answers, but none of them are right, and Agatha, standing beside her, hits the nail on the head without even thinking.
True love.
That's right. It's true love. That means Sophie can change her story if she gets a true love kiss. So, Agatha decides to do whatever it takes to help Sophie get a true love kiss. Then they buckle down and start studying hard on their own. Soon, Agatha has her first beauty class exam. All she needs is a smile like an angel's to get a full mark. But this seemingly easy exam is a lot tougher for Agatha than baking 1,000,000 loaves of bread. Sure enough, a huge, glaring fat F pops right up on her head, and Sophie, oh man, she really makes a total spectacle of herself in her ugliness class. The students in the School of Evil are all really skilled. There's a werewolf who can grow a tuft of hair with a little effort, and a witch who can turn a table into chocolate just by rolling her eyes. And this girl is even more amazing. The girl shows the tattoo on her neck, then raises her hands. A winged fire lizard slowly rises up behind her. This is an extremely rare kind of witchcraft. With a wave of the girl's hand, the fire lizard instantly flies towards Sophie on the opposite side. But just then, a huge blob of black stuff suddenly flies in from outside the window and directly slams the little lizard onto the ceiling. And the girl who was so arrogant just now suddenly falls to the ground and twitches in pain. It looks like someone's life is in danger. Lesso quickly orders Sophie to take back her magic power. Sure enough, as soon as Sophie gives the order, the dense black stuff stops attacking and slowly falls to the ground. After seeing what fell down, even Lesso shows a look of horror. Could it be him? Countless dense flying insects actually slowly form the shape of a person. Before everyone has time to react, that strange man turns into a swarm of black wasps again, rushes out of the skylight, and disappears. Although Sophie doesn't know what this means for the teachers in the school, that face is all too familiar. Well, thousands of years ago, a pair of twin brothers with boundless magic power were having an ultimate showdown between good and evil. The older brother Rian in blue believed that good and evil should coexist harmoniously, while the younger brother Rafal in red thought that there must be a winner between the two. Rafal took advantage of his brother's inattention and instantly pinned his brother to the wall with two magic swords. It turns out that Rafal had secretly learned an ancient sorcery, blood magic. This is a banned book that has been sealed for tens of thousands of years. Ordinary people simply can't control it. But in the face of his brother's admonition, Rafal didn't listen to a single word. With one big move, he directly turned his brother into a near-death state with a lot of damage. But just when Rafal, looking very proud, was about to deliver a fatal blow to his brother, unexpectedly, his brother suddenly summons up his last bit of strength and directly pushed Rafal off the cliff. Just like that, Rian became the principal of the school and has been guarding the order of good and evil. And thousands of years later, Rafal's soul actually reappears on campus, which means a huge secret has begun to slowly surface. In the wishing class at the School of Good, Professor Clarissa Dovey, the dean of the School for Good, is leading several girls to make wishes in the wishing pool. And most people's wishes are to become princesses and finally live a happy life with princes. But when it's Agatha's turn to make a wish, something strange happens. Because Agatha isn't interested in becoming a princess at all. Her wish is that everyone here can go home. In an instant, the originally calm water surface suddenly starts to become restless. Agatha seems to feel a huge force tightly holding her hand. She gives a hard pull and actually pulls out a person made up of countless small fish from the water. It's actually a little girl in an angel costume. At this moment, Agatha's idea is finally verified. Those students who can't graduate have been turned into various animals here by the school to provide various services for the school. And for so many years, the little girl could only become a small fish in the wishing pool to help other students fulfill their wishes. Only Agatha's wish is to truly set them free. The little girl turns into a ball of golden light and disappears. And when everyone is stunned by this scene, a huge skeleton bird suddenly rushes in front of Agatha. Although the skeleton bird looks very scary, Agatha can clearly feel that under that terrifying appearance, there must also be a poor little one who couldn't graduate. Sure enough, with a pleading look, the big bird slowly walks up to Agatha. But just then, Tedros, the son of King Arthur, appears out of nowhere, flies up, and stabs the big bird's chest with a sword. The big bird instantly turns into a pile of ashes. Tedros thinks he's done a heroic deed to save the beauty. But this scene makes Agatha extremely angry. Is this what so-called good is all about? Just because they can't meet the school's outrageous requirements, they can just destroy a person like this. Unexpectedly, Agatha's words make Dovey suddenly realize something. It seems that the entire School of Good has been influenced by some kind of evil force. The terrifying Rafal finds Sophie again and implants an evil thought into Sophie's heart. That is, to get a true love kiss, she must stop at nothing. At the school's ceremony to unlock magic for the students, Sophie makes a domineering entrance as if she's a different person.
I hope I'm not late.
She even cuts in line so confidently. Just like that, Sophie changes into various beautiful clothes and hangs around Tedros every day. After Tedros resists with his super strong willpower for 3 days, on the 4th day, he finally completely gives in. And because the school has strict regulations, students from the School of Good and the School of Evil are absolutely not allowed to be lovers unless they can pass the school's ultimate test. That is, the two must walk through the small forest behind the school together in the middle of the night. If the two can walk together smoothly, they are considered to have passed the test. Others may not know about that place, but Agatha does, because she has seen the horror there during the field class. This magic forest is full of beautiful flowers with sharp teeth. Even the teachers in the school only dare to appear here during the day, because the night here will be very terrifying. Sure enough, Sophie, who knows nothing about it, soon experiences the horror here. Those beautiful-looking flowers start to bite frantically at the softest parts of Sophie's body. And poor Sophie doesn't know that this is just an appetizer, because something even more terrifying is waiting not far away. That terrifying Pumpkinhead Ripper actually comes to life in a strange way. And at this time, Sophie has no strength left to run away. At the critical moment, a white bird instantly pounces on the Pumpkinhead's face. It's Agatha who violates the rules to protect her best friend, and Tedros, fighting for love, is no match for that Pumpkinhead monster. Tedros, now without his weapon, yells out desperately to Sophie. He hopes his girlfriend can pass him the weapon, but at this moment, Sophie is so scared that she freezes on the spot. Seeing Tedros in a life-or-death situation, Agatha, without hesitation, steps forward and hands the sword to him. Seizing the opportunity, Tedros swings the sword, and the Pumpkinhead is instantly defeated. Sophie's performance disappoints Tedros greatly. He takes out a red handkerchief and gives up this test of love. And Sophie blames it all on Agatha.
A princess can't be friends with a witch.
Why is fate so unfair? Sophie, completely disheartened, loses all hope. What friendship, what love. In Sophie's eyes at this moment, they are all just jokes. Just like that, under Rafals' temptation, Sophie finally gives herself completely to this demon. This is an ancient curse that has been sealed for tens of thousands of years. Blood magic. The reason it's listed as a forbidden art is that ordinary people simply can't control that terrifying evil power. And the most obvious characteristic is that one's appearance will gradually change dramatically. Under the influence of blood magic, Sophie has actually transformed into a hideous-looking witch. At the annual Eternal Ball, a black figure with silver-white hair walks to the center of the ball. Agatha can hardly believe what she sees, and seeing Tedros, whom she once liked, standing beside her best friend, Sophie is filled with anger. With a gentle raise of her hand, the weapons in the hands of several boys instantly melt. Sophie swaggers out of the ball hall. Looking at her best friend who has become like this, Agatha is extremely heartbroken. But how could she have imagined that all this is just the beginning? All the teachers in the school have been turned into dolls with terrifying expressions. The most spine-chilling thing unfolds. A group of students from the School of Good, armed with weapons, all rush towards the castle of the School of Evil, and at this time, Sophie has completely become a thoroughgoing demon. At the command of Tedros, countless arrows are shot towards Sophie, but Sophie just snaps her fingers, and the sharp arrows all turn into small white chrysanthemums. They've been tricked. Since ancient times, the evil attacks and the good defends, and once the good make the first move, then they are no longer the good. In the next second, all the students of the School of Evil, led by Sophie, begin to change greatly. They actually put on elegant gowns and white wedding dresses, and Sophie, like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, transforms in an instant. From an ugly witch, she becomes a noble princess. Good and evil are in complete chaos, and a fierce battle between good and evil officially begins. Agatha still tries to use their past beautiful memories to save her good friend who has fallen into the quagmire. But Sophie has been eroded by evil thoughts too deeply. She instantly turns into a black crow and flies into the master's office, wanting to completely rewrite her fairy tale. But she never expected that the master is actually the demon Rafal, who has been dead for thousands of years. It turns out that in that battle back then, Rafal didn't die at all. Instead, taking advantage of his brother's inattention, he sent his brother to his doom with a big sword, and he disguised himself as the schoolmaster. Over thousands thousands of years, he has long implanted evil thoughts into the school of good. The long-term sense of superiority has rendered the original kindness vain, weak, and even stupid. They have been living in a self-righteous illusion all day, and unknowingly, the balance between good and evil has been broken. Rafal's power has become stronger and stronger. He tells Sophie that he will create a perfect world without the distinction between good and evil. And at this time, the only thing he needs is Sophie's true love kiss. Under Rafal's temptation, Sophie offers her most precious kiss. But in the next second, the whole world turns green. All the buildings collapse under a blood-red force. Sophie has been hoodwinked. The kiss just now was not a true love kiss at all, but a kiss of desire. Rafal wants to create a world of pure evil without any good thoughts. Realizing that she has made a huge mistake, Sophie wants to regret it, but it's too late, because she has offered her kiss of desire to Rafal and can only become Rafal's lover. Just then, Agatha suddenly jumps in through the window. Seeing this scene, Sophie is extremely excited. She thought she would never see her best friend again. Just then, taking advantage of Agatha's inattention, Rafal shoots out the Storian pen. In a critical moment, Sophie pushes Agatha away, and the Storian pen stabs Sophie precisely. Rafal's action disrupts the power of his blood magic. All the buildings start to return to their original state. The students who were trapped under the stones also slowly stand up. Just then, Tedros, who was beaten by Agatha, slowly walks towards Rafal with a big sword in his hand. But how could he be a match for the terrifying Rafal? Rafal raises his hand and pins Tedros to the wall. Angry Rafal wants to execute his ultimate move again. And in this last critical moment, Sophie, lying on the ground with her last bit of strength, uses her magic to throw the sword into the air. Agatha seizes the opportunity and makes a powerful strike. Rafal is instantly cut in half and finally turns into a cloud of black smoke and dissipates. Gotta say, that was a beautiful cut. At this time, Sophie is beyond salvation. With her last breath, she says what she has always wanted to say to Agatha.
I love you, Aggie. You'll always be my best friend.
Sophie closes her eyes forever. Agatha weeps bitterly. By now, it's too late to say anything. She can only express her thousands of words with a kiss. Just then, a miracle happens. Agatha finds that Sophie's wound begins to heal quickly. The kiss just now is exactly the true love kiss that Sophie needs. It turns out that pure friendship is also a kind of true love. Just like that, their exclusive fairy tale has finally been completely rewritten. The whole school for good and evil has also undergone earth-shattering changes. Good and evil are no longer in opposition, but are perfectly integrated. Perhaps this is the perfect balance between good and evil. Finally, the two best friends return to their own world. After experiencing all these things, they no longer complain about their respective lives. As the saying goes, nothing can shake their strong friendship. This movie is called The School for Good and Evil. I really don't understand why this movie has such a low rating. To be fair, from the visual effects to the plot setting, and finally to the educational significance, this movie is quite commendable. Welcome all the friends who know the answer to leave your precious opinions in the comment section. See you next time.